Hello and welcome to another episode on my channel. My name is ChaosMole, and before we're jumping into this, if you're wondering, man, you are looking sweaty, is everything alright? Yeah, it's summer. It's just summer, it's super hot here, summer has hit my country, and yeah, I'm sweating, so don't pay it any mind. I'm good. It's just too hot. I'm not a winter guy. But let's get right into this. What is this? Well, this is our E3 2021 pre-show where we are talking about all the predictions for the games coming up for certain publishers. If you have never heard of E3, or this is your first E3, it is the Electronic Entertainment Expo, which is happening every year, where all the big publishers and developers are coming together to showcase their newest and hottest games, which are not even on the market or might even not come out this year. And as you can already see in the background, the first publisher, which will happen this upcoming Saturday, which is, let me check, June 12th at 3 p.m. ET, is Ubisoft. With Ubisoft Forward, we will of course live stream the whole event live on trovo.live/chaosmole, and we watch it there. But let's talk a little bit about what Ubisoft has planned, what we know, what we don't know, and some other things. So unfortunately, Ubisoft still has the sexual allegations going on and is still restructuring their company. What we have heard so far, it is not going as well as it should be, but they're working on it. I know this is a topic in itself, and we could probably talk about this for minutes, but let's be honest here, I want to focus a little bit more on the games. I have already done some videos, and I very much do not approve on how Ubisoft is actually handling the whole thing. But let's talk about the games. So Ubisoft has released most of the big games last year or this year, and there's not too much. We know though of a few games Ubisoft will showcase. The first game which will be apparently showcased is Far Cry 6. We already had a preview event just a few weeks ago where they finally showed some gameplay, and I have to say, first part of the Far Cry 6 trailer, I wasn't really into it. Yeah, it didn't really speak to me, and I was pretty much bored. Then thankfully the second half of the trailer started, where they showed a little bit more of the combat, the weapons, the gadgets, the thing you can change, and how you can drive around with all the different cars. Like, the second part of the trailer looked really good, and I was actually rather interested in it. So yeah, that second part of the trailer definitely saved my interest for Far Cry 6, and I'm now curious to see where they're going with it. Now, I have to see a little bit more, because let's be real here, Ubisoft is really good in making some fascinating trailers. Good gameplay trailers where you think, whoa, this looks freaking amazing. And then you were playing the game just for a few hours, or you even see like some full gameplay, and you're like, oh, that's how they do it. Okay. Not as interesting as I thought. Like, again, Ubisoft is really good in making trailers. Let's face it. So yeah, what they showed from Far Cry 6 looks fantastic. I'm really curious to see what they will do with it, and I'm definitely interested to see more of it. The next game they have already announced they will showcase is Rainbow Six Quarantine. You know, the spin-off zombie game of the Rainbow Six series, which was announced in 2019 as a PvE Rainbow Six Siege. And we haven't really seen much of it. Like, there were some leaked footage a few weeks ago where somebody apparently leaked some alpha footage, and it was only like, I think, 5 minutes long. It was a horrible quality, but it really looked like Rainbow Six meets zombies. And I mean that in all the good ways and all the bad ways, because it didn't look too interesting for me, especially because I'm just over like zombies and all that. But maybe it's fun. I definitely want to see a full presentation of it, and I think that Ubisoft Forward will be the best place to see that presentation. But I don't really have an opinion about it. Like right now, my hype level for Rainbow Six Quarantine, if they're really calling it like that, is low. Really, really low. So we will see. With that said, they will probably, I'm not sure, but they will probably show the new, what is it called? The Division Heartland? Was it Heartland? Or at least the Division free-to-play game. I always forget what they are calling it. I think it's Heartland, if I'm not completely wrong. But it is like the Division free-to-play model. And that made a lot of fans already pretty angry. Like, Ubisoft unfortunately now has a track record of bringing out the Division, making a little bit of content with it, and then just abandon it to move on to the next The Division. They did it with 1, like when 1 actually became really good, people came back to the game. They were like, hey folks, yeah, all the stuff we did, all the new regions we added, and so on and so forth. Well, we moved on. Yeah, we are now working on The Division 2. And everyone's like, oh, okay, well, let's hope you learned your lesson. They didn't. They basically did the same thing again. They released the game, added some content to it, not too much. People left the game because there wasn't enough going on. And then they added a little bit more of content. And just a few weeks afterwards, they're like, and here is the new The Division game. I was like, oh, can you stop that? That doesn't mean that I'm not curious to see what the Division has to offer. It sounded rather interesting. It seems like they are doing a PvE mode, but also like a PvP mode with a lot of people on the map. And it read a little bit like Escape from Tarkov. Like the PvP mode apparently feels a bit like Escape from Tarkov. And I'm okay with that because I will be honest, I tried to get into Escape from Tarkov, and for me it was a little bit too hardcore, because reality is like losing all your items you have farmed maybe for 20 hours. It's like, I don't have the time for that. Like I can see why people enjoy it, but I don't really have the time for that too much. So yeah, I'm curious if they are doing like a Division like Escape from Tarkov, and I would be cool with that. So this is what we are knowing. They will also talk, of course, about their released games like For Honor, Trackmania, The Crew 2, and Watch Dogs Legion will all be there with probably some patch or expansion announcement. So that's neat. But besides that, what else can we expect? Well, believe it or not, Ubisoft has actually a good amount of games which should be still in development. We haven't heard a lot of Beyond Good and Evil 2, which is hopefully still in development. I mean, wouldn't be the first time they have actually stopped development. But I think the biggest problem with Beyond Good and Evil 2 was that the game was announced far too early. Like, they literally announced Beyond Good and Evil 2 when they were like in a, pre-production phase. There wasn't even a game there. They were still like working on the concept of the game when they announced it. And that probably means that game is still easily 2 to 3 years away. It's a bit like Skyrim, when people are talking about, or not Skyrim, sorry, Elder Scrolls, when people are talking about Elder Scrolls 6 and they're like, oh my god, yeah, it's coming. And it's like, no, I don't want to be a dick, but they've announced Elder Scrolls 6 even though they haven't even worked on that game yet. They were literally just saying, yeah, we are creating it. And I will be honest, like Elder Scrolls 6 will probably come out in 2025, and I wouldn't be surprised if Beyond Good and Evil 2 will not come out before 2025, because it was pretty early in development. The next game, which is, well, has been in development for quite a few years, but got rebooted completely, was Skull&Bones. You remember that game, which looked a little bit like Assassin's Creed Black Flag, which was also based on it. And everything we have seen, forget about it. Like, seriously, just forget about it, everything you have seen, because Ubisoft has made it clear that they completely rebooted the game and start out anew, which is, of course, unfortunate for all the people who have looked forward to it, but there was apparently a reason why they believed that that game would not make it. So we will see what they have to offer. Will they showcase it? Probably not, because they have made it also clear that the game is definitely not coming out this year, maybe not even next year. So if they're not want to show us again a very early version of the game, I don't think so. I really, really do not think so that they would do that. Now, again, it's Ubisoft. They tend to do that sometimes, but we will see. What else do we have from Ubisoft? Well, we have actually a game. They have been announcing 3 years ago, I think, and that was the new Settler game. Yeah. The interesting part was that the new Settler game was actually poised to be released last year, but they didn't do that because apparently Anno 1800 was so successful that Ubisoft finally realized what a charming game it was and how much money it made them. They started finally to support Anno 1800. They now have like multiple season passes, and it seems like Anno 1800 has a golden future ahead of them, which makes totally sense because, let's be honest, that game is freaking amazing. If you haven't played it yet, you should definitely check it out because it is a very good game, which is not just the usual Ubisoft spiel. But the reality is, Anno 1800 and the Settler is the same development team. So now that they have started to focus more on Anno 1800 again, I can see that maybe the Settler game will not come out by the end of this year, or maybe even is coming out next year. They seem to take more time with it, which I'm cool with. Like, if that game is becoming as good as Anno 1800, but in a Settler universe, I am all for it. Like, take all the time you need to make it good. So, but they haven't really talked too much about it, and I would love to see more of it. Does it mean they will be at E3? Probably not. What they love to do with the Settler is they try to be on the Gamescom, because the Settler and Anno is a German development studio and a German game, and yeah, they are trying to be at the German Games Convention. So Gamescom, again, wouldn't be surprised if they will be at the E3, but I will also not be surprised if they are just holding back till Gamescom in August. I think it's August this year. So I think that's more or less what we have at least known for now when it comes to Ubisoft games. There might be, of course, something else coming up, but that's all we have known. There's one last thing I want to mention here, and that's Assassin's Creed. They haven't really mentioned it yet, but I'm pretty sure at this point that we are not getting a new Assassin's Creed this year. I know that they have done multiple years where they basically released an Assassin's Creed game every year, but it seems like they stopped doing that and focusing more on the games, and Assassin's Creed Valhalla is still selling pretty well, especially the new expansion which just came out. I think they just released the first big expansion with the Druids for the game, and they have still like 1 or 2 expansions to go, and it doesn't seem like they will be done with all those expansions in this year. So yeah, I don't think that we will see a new Assassin's Creed announcement. Pretty sure that ain't gonna happen. So, But yeah, this is all the games we know about so far from Assassin's Creed and Ubisoft and all the other stuff they're working on. And we will see how it goes. I would definitely watch it with my community, and we will do that live on Saturday, June 12th at 3 p.m. EDT. And yeah, we will see what they have to offer. If you want to join us, you can just do that by clicking on the link in the description. And that is trovo.live/ChaosMole. We're also streaming there from Monday to Friday, starting at 9 a.m. ET, with Mole in the morning and new gaming news. And then a good chunk of gameplay. All right, folks. Again, thank you so much for watching. There will be, of course, more preview videos. Next up is, if I'm not mistaken, Microsoft? I think it should be Xbox and Bethesda. I have to look at my list again. I'm really bad at remembering. That's why I have a list. But yeah, I think that's the next one on the list. Should be interesting. All right. With that said, thank you so much for watching. See you next time. Stay safe. Bye-bye.